What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the RedBeard Outdoors podcast. I'm Jonathan, your host, and today is part of our series that we've done throughout the entire year of 2024 of Why First Phorm Outdoors. Every other Thursday, we come to you guys and let you know stories from people all over the country and even extending past that to why they've chosen First Phorm and First Phorm Outdoors to be their partners in their journeys of fitness, of health, of community, of getting outdoors. And Lacey here is just an absolute beast. I've witnessed it in person. For you guys that don't know about the November Knockdown Challenge, we've done it 2 years in a row, and this will be coming up pretty soon here as well. Whatever it ends up being called this year, I'm sure we'll continue it with November Knockdown. But Lacey qualified, and then she ended up winning the women's portion of the November Knockdown Finals out at Sal's Farm. And not only did she win it on a sprained ankle and a bunch of other things that were happening. And she just absolutely pushed through and crushed it. So we're going to hit on a little bit of that, as well as just getting to know who Lacey is and why Lacey has chosen First Phorm as her community. So with that being said, Lacey, for people that don't know who you are you?
So like he said, I'm Lacey Zelinski. My husband and I, we reside in South Dakota. We've been here for a long time, but we actually met through hunting, which is kind of funny. Pheasant hunting brought him to South Dakota. He's originally from Michigan. So we kind of met when he was here hunting, and yeah, that's what we just hang out here, where I'm in my garage gym now, where I spend the majority of my time. So fitness has been a huge part of my life for a really long time. The outdoor portion, I have to add a little credit more to my husband and my brother, actually, to bring me into that hunting side of things. But yeah, so I used to teach middle school for 10 years. I actually stepped away from that last year, and I'm training and I get to advise in the First Phorm app as well. So I have my own team there, and my husband farms. So that's a little bit about me, just a quick little snapshot of my life.
Well, I mean, you choose the hard road. Then you choose CrossFit. You chose teaching middle schoolers,
Yeah.
which that is hard in and of itself. Or for the weirdos out here, like out west, where we call it junior high.
Yeah,
where I grew up, it was middle school.
Yeah.
But yeah, either way, that transitional period between elementary school and high school is just an awkward phase for kids, and you're dealing with all of that and everything else that's going on. So. You chose that, and now you're advising people, which that's not an easy task either. For people that don't know about the First Phorm app, first I'd say, where have you been? Because I've talked about it a lot, and you hear about it all over the place. But if you're new here or you haven't heard me mention it before, the First Phorm app is an amazing tool. It's less than $13 a month that you get an advisor like Lacey,
Yep.
or someone from headquarters, or whoever it is that you choose to have your advisor. And you get a full-blown advisor, not just some bot that's going to spit you out some generic bull crap. And then you can track your food. There's live classes. There's educational pieces. There's motivational quotes. There's so many things in there that you're really not going to find, even just a personal trainer. You're not going to find a personal trainer for $13 a month. You're just not.
Absolutely.
So
Crazy.
all of that, you've chosen the hard path there, because it's not easy to get people working, doing the work at home without you barking in their face 24/7. So that's awesome. That's awesome. So I guess give us a little bit of a spiel as far as, how'd you get in contact with CrossFit and that style of training, and why did it just absorb your life?
That's a really good question. I don't know if I can pinpoint that. I got into fitness in high school, really just started with running, because I had no idea what I was doing. I'm like, well, I can move, so I'm just going to go outside and run. So I did a lot of that. I needed to lose weight, and I did have success, but I was not happy with how I looked. So then I started just kind of diving down the rabbit hole of training and different training styles. It was a lot of bodybuilding to begin with. But I'm not sure exactly what sparked the CrossFit in me, but I did come across some videos. I'm like, oh my gosh, these people are insane. Like, I want to be able to work out like that. So really just taught myself. We don't have CrossFit gyms anywhere. I think I'd have to go about 50 miles from where we are to even find one. So I just started watching YouTube. I'm trying to learn some of the movements on my own. So my husband and I do that here. We've actually been to the CrossFit games to watch a few times, so that was really cool as well. So I do enjoy that style of training mostly. For shorter periods of time that I had to train while teaching, it was just the most effective for me. Instead of trying to get in a bodybuilding session and then find time for some cardio and try and fit all of that, CrossFit kind of just brought it all together. So I just went with that style, and I've loved it ever since. I still do bodybuilding, don't get me wrong. I like to do some of that as well. But that's kind of how I came across CrossFit, was just maximizing my time, utilizing that style.
I love it. And that it's funny. It's a lot of people transition from bodybuilding, just the general style weightlifting, to a CrossFit style or a general physical preparedness GPP style workout. As you get older as well, you focus more on movements. Your time is a lot more constrained. You're not the teenager or young 20s that can go and sit for 2 hours at the gym and isolate every single muscle group and eat your meal in between. Like you can't do that once you've got kids or you've got other life things going on, or even a more intense job as you're building your career. So all of that to be said, it's kind of a natural progression, but also you being in a unique situation to where there's not really a CrossFit gym anywhere near you. You'd have to drive a couple hours just to get somewhere. And so you kind of built that out on your own, which, you look like you're in a gym. It doesn't look like a garage. So it looks like you've built it out pretty well and stocked it with good equipment. And again, I can attest to the fact that your training, whatever you're doing, works, because there were some stiff competitors this year in was it May that we were out there, and the winners, the top 10 men and women, went out to Sal's Phorm out in St. Louis, Missouri, and competed in some grueling events, in rain, in mud, and you sprained your ankle like on the first event. And so it was interesting, but I can attest to your training in person. You competed against the top of the top and you won. So it works. Whatever you're doing works, obviously.
And I enjoy it. So it's, that's the big thing I try and tell people too. Don't do what other people tell you they're doing unless you enjoy it. You're not going to stick with it, and it's not going to be beneficial. So it was really rewarding to see that what I do and what I love to do actually was very effective for the games. So that was really fun.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's a very good point as well. A lot of people bring up different diets, whether it be keto, carnivore, vegetarian, whatever. And they're like, well, I need to try this, Mediterranean, whatever. And it's like, well, but what can you stick with? What works for you? What works best for you? Same with training. If you do like just picking heavy things up and putting them back down and that works for you, then you might need to rearrange some other life choices so that you have that time to go and maximize that time in the gym. Or like you said, you enjoy the CrossFit style training, and for that competition, it definitely works. Right. So those are all really good pointers. So got into fitness, you kind of, started with the weight loss journey, and then you turned it into a lifestyle to where now you've taken over the garage, which it's, again, kind of funny because usually it's the guys making a man cave of the garage or something like that. You definitely took it over. And I love the ceiling too, that the tin roofing. That's pretty awesome.
Yep. Well, what you can't see in front of me is the man cave corner. He did a very big section, but he got a corner. All the deer mounts and whatnot, we have that direction, but it's definitely more gym than garage. We could fit one car, and it's a 3-stall garage, but I'm okay with that. We actually hold classes here too, so I train groups of 6 to 8 people, almost 5 days a week, 4 or 5 days a week. So it just works out. We're both okay with it. Perfect. We love fitness. We're out here together every day, so I don't think he's too mad that I took over 3/4 of it. But
Do you have is it called a specific gym, or do you have a brand that you coach under?
We branded it PB3, Peanut Butter and Barbells, is what we call our little side hustle, I guess you'd call it. So that is the name that we go by.
I love it. Peanut Butter and Barbells. That's awesome. Yeah.
Peanut butter is one of my favorite, dangerous, but favorite foods. So
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. So awesome. So if you guys are in what part of South Dakota, if they're looking for somewhere to go?
We're on the eastern side, so West River's the Black Hills, Mount Rushmore, the pretty stuff. We're on the very flat side where you just find cornfields and bean fields. So more eastern. We're only about an hour from the Minnesota border.
Okay.
So pretty
perfect. Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. We'll you guys, I imagine, have a link or a Instagram page or somewhere that they can reach out to you if they're over there.
I do a lot of it on my own personal page. We do have a PB3 Facebook page as well, but a lot of it's just on mine, which is Lacey.Zelinski right on Instagram. It's all right there.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Then I'll leave those links down below if you guys are interested in some training with Lacey. Maybe you came across the same situation where there wasn't a CrossFit gym, 50 miles from you. So now you've got somewhere to go. But even then, you guys can use, are you open to having people right now in the app as advisor? Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. So we'll leave the link down below as well, where you can request for Lacey to be your advisor in the First Phorm app. And so that's all. Again, it's grueling. It's not an easy thing to do. And more than anything, when you're advising people or you're training them, it's hard to see people let go of those goals that they've worked for, or, when they fall off the bandwagon. Obviously you welcome them back with open arms, but to see them step away from it or things like that, that's probably got to be one of the hardest things as a coach, that you see.
Yeah, because you see their potential. I mean, we're always our own worst enemy, so we don't always see what we have, what we can do, or how far we've already come. So as a coach, that is difficult. Like, people come to me, they maybe lost a half a pound that week, and they're like, well, this isn't working. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, we're in a really good spot. Like, don't give up. Just keep moving forward. You're doing the work. But I get it too, because even with the outdoor games, after every event, I'm like, I didn't do well enough. Like, I'm not doing what I need to be doing. And like, I'm in that same boat sometimes. So I get that. And I see it from both sides, but you're right. That is hard to see people not believe in themselves like I believe in them. So it's a tough part of the job, but it's also really rewarding when you get to see them through to their goals.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. No, that's really cool. So then you got into hunting through your brother and your husband. Started with, you said, grouse hunting.
Mostly pheasant out here is what we do a lot of. Yep.
Okay.
My dad did take me along when I was younger, some deer hunting, not a lot. My brother did archery hunting. I'm like, I don't understand why you think that's fun. I don't know why you go sit in a stand and wait for deer to walk by, but whatever. So I didn't understand, and he didn't really offer to take me, but I probably wouldn't have gone anyways. And then my husband got into it, and I went with him, and we actually went out to the Black Hills a couple of years ago and went to the grasslands in Pierce, so right along the river, and we chased mule deer for like 4 days, and that is a whole different game, and that was fun. So then I really got into it. So yeah, I have to thank those guys for getting me into that deer hunting, archery hunting specifically.
Awesome. Yeah, that's, and I agree. It's funny. I grew up in North Carolina. There's obviously a lot of whitetail hunting out there. Most of the people that I knew hunted with a rifle, which I also did not understand. And so sitting in a stand waiting for something to come up to feed or whatever with a rifle, which again, I've said this repeatedly, guys, nothing against people that do that. I understand. But for me, I wanted more of a challenge. So when I came out west, got into archery hunting, first rifle hunting, had good success, went into archery hunting out west. It is a lot of moving, hiking, scouting, glassing, very active style. And now I can understand, and I'm still green into the hunting thing. I feel like, about 10 years or so, but, seeing like the light at the end of the tunnel almost in a couple weeks, I'm going out to Wisconsin to hunt whitetail for a week. I'm like, man, it'll be nice to just sit there and like maybe write some emails or, read a book or something. Yeah. After I've been chasing elk and deer out west. And then, so it's kind of a good mixed bag, right? I couldn't see myself dedicating only to whitetail, but it's good to mix it up, especially in the later seasons when it gets cold.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you got into big game hunting. Have you come out west at all and done it? I know you have mule deer in South Dakota.
No. So and I'm originally from Utah. I was born out there. So I would love to be able to go out there or, Colorado, whatever. Our goal is to do a big elk hunt. I'm not sure how we're going to make that work. My husband farms. So right now he's glued to the tractor, which is always really kind of a double-edged sword. Like, you need to do it, but it's also hunting season. So in the future, we're hoping near future to make that happen. That would be awesome.
Awesome.
You're green to hunting, but I'm greener, whatever's greener than green. I'm only about a couple years in with the archery side of things. So I'm nervous for that. Like, elk's a big deal. Like, you really have to put time and preparation. And so I'm new to all of that.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So you're planning on doing it with a bow?
Oh, I would love to. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, one workaround for your husband being a farmer would be to do a late season rifle hunt. Those are pretty accessible. And that would be maybe even a good way to get introduced into it until you're able to figure out how to get out during September. Because that is hard for farmers.
Yes.
I agree with that. Yeah. So With that being said, let's get into a little bit here as far as your archery. You're new to archery still, a couple years into it. And yet I mean, I don't remember the points, but it was a close battle between the top three. And you could tell there was a good balance of fitness and archery in there. It wasn't that someone shot stellar and then lacked, physically. It was a good mix of each of you guys had some shots that flew a little wild, which again, guys, if you didn't see the November Knockdown Finals video, I'll also leave a link for that down below. You should go check it out. It only shows a little clip of what these ladies and men went through. But it was some grueling workouts. So the workouts by themselves were tough, on top of the weather conditions, and picking ticks off of you and things like that as well with the stuff that you went through. But then having to shoot with such a high heart rate. And, even if it was 20 yards, 30 yards, 40 yards, which may seem close to a lot of archers, it gets pretty blurry once you're worried about your competition, you're worried about this and that and how you did, pushing yourself but not too much to where you're redlining. Like there's a lot of that mixed in there. So again, Lacey did an amazing job, ended up coming out on top and earned that position, and did an amazing job there. But I guess talk to us a little bit, just give us a couple minute breakdown here of your feelings about it. Cause again, your full breakdown is in that video of the November Knockdown Challenge where you go through and discuss how you feel, but give us a quick synopsis real quick of just kind of how you felt going through it and then winning it.
Okay, so real quick, I mean, last year my husband, he also wanted to qualify. That's how I heard about it. I didn't even know it existed. So I filmed him doing his workouts, did not do the competition last year. I didn't have a bow, really didn't have any interest. And then this year I'm like, all right, I'll just do it with you. So I bought a pretty rinky-dink little bow, did the November Knockdown Challenge with him. I ended up qualifying. So then I actually took his bow. We totally modified it to fit me. And that's what I used for the finals in May. So then I had to get serious. I'm like, all right, I don't really know a lot about archery yet. I'm not really sure what this whole fitness and archery combined thing is. And you talk about redlining. And I know that fitness trackers aren't always super accurate, but mine reached 198 beats per minute, my heart rate, in one of those events. So you talk about trying to shoot, like you're just lucky if you hit something that's somewhat to the target on some of those. So I had to train for that. And I knew that was going to be obviously the biggest factor of probably who is going to win, who can control their heart rate enough to have accurate shots, because you do need to push and your competition really pushes you. So I knew all of those things going into it. It wasn't going to be easy. I actually ended up doing, I think it's called Fit to Perform in the app, was actually the training program I followed leading up to the finals. I threw in some of my own cardio. I knew I needed to work on that, but I did that for my basic of my training. And then we got out there, and after that first event, I rolled my ankle, which was a whole nother thing, but I'm like, okay, this is maybe 10 times more intense than what I even thought I was going to get to. But it was so fun that it didn't really matter. It was such a blast.
Yeah. And that first event, I mean, it started raining. You had to run through some mud. I don't know exactly where you rolled your ankle, but it wasn't even on the last lap. Like it was the very first lap of the very first event of the first day. That's rough. It was, yeah. And I knew better. I have bad ankles. I knew that, but that rain kind of changed things. The ground got a little funky. But yeah, it was fine. As long as I kept moving, it was okay. So the first day I pushed through, taped it up, we were all right. It did get a little stiff overnight, and I'm like, I don't know how this is going to go, but what did I have to lose? You either go out there and you move slower or you quit, and I really didn't want to quit. So yeah, exactly. And even though you were able to tape it up and kind of mitigate the pain a little bit, it's still hard running on a taped ankle. Anyone that's done that in sports, football, whatever it is, trying to be mobile and active while you're on a taped ankle, that's rough. So again, it was really cool to see that. And I thought it was awesome. And for people out there listening, like if this is your first year with a bow, look at Lacey, she went out and won. because she put her mind to it, and she really did. I mean, it's a mixture of everything. You never know what the competition, if they're having a bad day, if they're off, if their site got bumped that night before, if whatever's going on, there's so many things that are incorporated into that. All you can do is focus on doing your best. And it's cool to hear. I loved the fact that you ended up winning when you've only been shooting a bow for a year. That was really cool.
You know, I kind of left that part out. I did 4-H archery when I was 10, 11, 12, quit when I turned 12 because boys and sports and all the things were just cooler than archery. So I took a big hiatus, 12 until now. I'm 32. So 20 years later, I picked it back up. Yeah. And like you said, and this is what I tell the people in the app that I help too, so many things went through my mind training for this. I'm like, what am I doing? What have I gotten myself into? I can see these other women on Instagram that I'm going to be competing against. They are beasts. I see some of their training. I see some of their shooting. I'm like, oh, I'm so out of my league. But I had to really step out of that mindset and just forget about that because I can't control that anyways. Every day there were shots that were fired from the bow every single day. That was a non-negotiable. Moved my body, trained every single day, non-negotiable. You just control what you can control. And sometimes it works out even better than you would ever imagine.
I love it. That's awesome. So give us your quick top 3 reasons why First Phorm and First Phorm Outdoors. And I bring this up because, guys, Lacey obviously has been in the CrossFit style training for a while. If you don't know this, I mean, you have opportunities to work with various companies, and Lacey has had her pick of who she wants to work with. And she's chosen First Phorm and now has gone full-blown First Phorm and First Phorm Outdoors with winning the competition, training in the app, the supplements that she uses that she offers to other people. So give us your top 3 reasons as why you've chosen First Phorm out of any other company that's out there.
I got introduced to the brand through 75 Hard. So it started with that, just like the mental toughness piece. And I really wanted to expand on that and kind of see more of the people behind, Andy behind that program, but the people that are also with him and what he does. And so I actually ended up going to an open gym. Was the first time that I was out at HQ. And the very first person I ever stopped to talk to, had a conversation with, was actually Kaylee. So we had a really good conversation about First Phorm, and then obviously First Phorm Outdoors. I got into the Facebook group that day. I actually ended up getting into the app under her for a little bit. So it was just really cool. I think that's my biggest number one takeaway why First Phorm or First Phorm Outdoors is just the people, like the community. It's just a whole different feeling. Like it literally feels like home. It's not just when you talk to those people, when you're in that Facebook group, everybody's genuinely there because they want to be and they care. And I'm not saying you can't find that other places, but it's just, for me, in the place I was in my life at that moment, that was the only place I really felt like that. So the community for sure, the like-mindedness, just really wanting to be better ourselves, but also to be better for those around us, to show our youth. I did what I could as a teacher to try and constantly teach those kids, show those kids, not only to do their best in school and all of those things, but when we're outside and you see a piece of garbage, like, go pick it up. It's not that complicated, just little things like that. And then the standards, very high standards. And that's how I really want to live my life and try and show those around me they can live their lives that way too, because why not? Why not live to the standards that you can live to? We're always capable of so much more than we think we are. So I just like to push that and show others they can too.
I love it. Those are amazing. And obviously you're seeing with your active lifestyle, you're seeing the performance benefits of the education and the nutrition, but also the supplementation that comes along with that. That's something that's huge. So, I would say for anyone that doesn't know about the group, definitely go check out the group. It's a different style of Facebook group. I mean, we're not selling things. It's just a group that is based on building each other up, not having the crabs in a bucket mentality, and everyone from new archers to extremely weathered archers and everything in between. There's not just archery either, though. There is so many other things such as hiking, camping, hunting. Why is the word so? It's not grouse. It's a pheasants. Hunting pheasants, rifle hunting.
I mean, you name it.
There's everything in there, and then there's even sub chats in the group that you can have dedicated, like if you really focus on one particular outdoor thing, mountain biking, etc., you can go and visit that chat and get people that would be a part of it, basically building your own community around you. Because as you're progressing towards goals, whether they're new, whether they're old, but you plateaued, it's always important to have that community around you. And that's what that Facebook group is about. It's nothing, again, has nothing. You don't even have to be using the First Phorm supplements to get into it. That's not a requirement to get into the group. And so, I mean, maybe after seeing some of the stuff like the brand new level 1 bars, the s'mores bars.
Oh, those are on their way. I haven't had them yet, but they're coming.
They are dangerous. I'm not a chocolate guy, but so I had to go gluten-free a couple years ago. And so I haven't been able to have a real s'more in years.
Yeah.
And I took that out and I ate that before heading up the mountain for my son's elk hunt. And I was like, holy crap. They even got the texture right of just like the marshmallow part.
Yeah,
like,
now
I don't know
really
how.
Excited.
Yeah, and it's gluten-free. I don't know how they do that. My favorite, the salted or the peanut butter pretzel is gluten-free.
Yep.
I don't know how they do that. And the s'mores gluten-free. And
Don't
I'm like,
question.
Okay.
Just go with it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So definitely recommend checking that stuff out. You'll want to at least check it out once you've gotten in the group. But it's not a requirement.
Like all of those things, you just mentioned it. Yes, the supplements, you could pick from a million different brands, and that's okay. We all have our favorites. That's fine. But like the convenience and the taste of those for the hunting lifestyle, the outdoor lifestyle, like that's really what I enjoy the most about a lot of that. It's so convenient and it tastes really good. Like it's just a no-brainer.
Exactly. Well, cool. Well, Lacey, I promise to not keep you too long, and these episodes are pretty short. We'll have to have you on for an extended episode where we talk a little bit more about November Knockdown and everything else that you've got going on. But I appreciate your time today, and everyone out there listening. Again, I'm going to leave all the links down below. If you're in South Dakota, in the farmlands of South Dakota, definitely check Lacey out and maybe even go to her gym. Reach out to her as an advisor on the First Phorm app, and join us in the First Phorm Outdoors or the First Phorm Facebook group, and also the video for the last year's November Knockdown Challenge, or I guess technically this year's finals. So check it out. All of the things will be down below. Thanks so much again for your time, Lacey. I appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
And like I always say, guys, get out, live your life, and love it.